with Triple H talking about many WWE returns and more. This is Wrestling Hub. My name is John, and you're watching the Wrestling Report for September 2nd. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Hub Official and follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. With fans comparing Finn Balor's Judgment Day faction in WWE to Malakai's House of Black stable in AEW, Malakai Black gave his thoughts on the Finn's group on his Twitch, saying, "I was well aware that WWE were going to basically mimic the House of Black. You know, what can I do? It is what it is. It only tells me that what we're doing is clearly something that is very interesting and going very well. It only tells me that what we're doing is clearly something that is very interesting. I'm well aware of it. Nothing I can do. I'm going to continue what I do because I'll always be one step ahead. I have no cuffs. The reason why the House of Black works is because it's myself and two other people who have great minds for it." With AEW Dynamite staying over 1 million viewers in the last few weeks, Eric Bischoff spoke on his podcast about changes he hopes Tony Khan will make to the company. "You need real storylines, Tony, not what the AEW audience accepts for a storyline, which is really nothing more than an excuse to have a match. That's not a storyline. There's no emotion in that, there's nothing episodic in that. I can't watch an entire episode of AEW. I will drop in because I'm hopeful. I want to see something I haven't seen before. I want to see some indication that something really cool is going to happen, but everything that I see tells me that there are not stories drafted or created or executed by people that really know a lot about storytelling. These are indie-based wrestling angles, and I just don't think that will work. If I were Tony Khan right now, especially with the resources he has, I would find a way to bring somebody in, a former WWE head writer like Brian Gewirtz, somebody that really understands the structure and importance of a great story and can bring out the best of talent with a great story and bring out the most emotion from the audience with a great story. That's what Tony needs. If Tony is happy with the company the way it is now and the Turner Network is happy with it, then don't change a thing. Keep doing what you're doing. But if the goal is to grow the company and to be, I don't want to say legitimately competitive with WWE because that isn't going to happen for a long time. WWE has too much of a head start. It's going to take forever. But you can still do things that position your company to be at least subjectively competitive on television. And it's not, it's just not. Please, Tony, if this gets to you in any way, shape, or form, I know Brian Gewirtz isn't available, but there are people like Brian out there. Rather than hiring the next shiny object that falls off the WWE tree and creating a huge surprise and getting everybody all excited, only to put them on the shelf and not see them again for 6 months, rather than doing that, find your Brian Gewirtz, because they're out there. During CM Punk's promo segment on Dynamite, Ace Steel would swear, which apparently led to him getting fined. AEW was told to tone down the swearing on programming previously, where they reported that, as part of All Out this week, talent received an email discussing a number of points for the week as the company has a lot of different events going on. PWInsider.com is told one of those points was to be careful not to use expletives on live TV this week for all the obvious reasons. Well, obviously, AEW producer Ace Steel dropped a curse during his fired up promo with CM Punk last night in Chicago. PW Insider has learned that talents were informed today that Steele immediately returned backstage after the promo and took responsibility for the error. He agreed to a fine, which was paid and according to today's communication from the company, will be donated to a charity. We were told the company's communication today pointed out and praised Ace's immediate reaction as an example of how to deal with errors and accept responsibility for them when they accidentally occur. With Thunder Rosa forced to vacate her women's title due to injury, a member of the media asked AEW president why CM Punk was given 8 minutes for his promo segment about his injury, but Thunder Rosa was not. Here's the video.
There's been a lot of criticism for the fact that Thunder Rosa was given time to talk about her injury in a video that fits on Twitter, while CM Punk got 8 minutes to talk about his injury. CM Punk, or the AEW Interim World Title, was given a full tournament, including Tanahashi and Hiroki Goto, and then the women kind of had a match that it feels more or less thrown together. And so what do you say to the criticism of of that, and why wasn't Thunder Rosa given more time to make it feel like her championship is just as important as the world championship?
Well, I strongly disagree with that, and I very strongly disagree with that. I give the TV time based on what I believe is going to draw the most ratings. And if you want my honest opinion on an 8-minute Thunder Rosa promo versus an 8-minute CM Punk promo, then you're going to get an honest answer. And I think the 8-minute CM Punk promo is probably going to do a better rating. Now, as far as match length, I think Thunder Rosa's had some great matches as champion. And to come out and do a live 8-minute promo, I'm not sure that would have been good for the television show, to be honest with you. And especially given where we were at, that Thunder Rosa, I found out she was injured a few hours before a live television show. I don't really have time to put an 8-minute promo in when I had just a couple hours notice versus CM Punk. I knew days earlier that he was pretty badly hurt. And we had already made a plan 2 days earlier for that.
During the Wednesday Night Wars, NXT would go head-to-head with AEW Dynamite, but ended up losing in views and demo ratings nearly every week. Talk about theories of him being punished for their loss. Triple H told BT Sport, people put so much pressure on all of this competitive war, but it was never that. They beat our developmental system. Good for them. It was never that. It was never even a pressure of you have to do that. It was put on the best product we could. It shifted over time. During the pandemic, it shifted over time. With it previously reported that Brock Lesnar initially walked out on WWE after hearing of Vince McMahon's retirement, Triple H confirmed this news, telling Ariel Helwani, there's some truth to it. Yeah, look. You have to understand Brock's relationship with Vince and Brock's relationship with combat sports, period. He has a relationship with Dana White that's a certain way. He has a relationship with Vince that's a certain way. But Vince is the devil he knows, and Brock is inherently not a trusting person. It's just how he is. He doesn't like people, but he's not a trusting person. I think in that moment where you just hear Vince is out, he thinks, well, now what's going to happen? I'm out of here. You know what I mean? I think there was just a moment of that, nothing more, nothing less. It's not like you looked at it like, I don't like anybody else here. I don't trust anybody else here. That was a moment of, I'm going to walk on this. And then we have a conversation. He comes back. I have a great relationship with Brock. We had issues over the years because of a certain point. He was a talent and I was a talent. Talent all get along to some degree, but there's always a very real rivalry between all of them. They all want to be the best. Everyone wants to be the best and be in that spot. So yeah, I'm sure there's some level of mistrust or those things. He's always had a relationship. Brock's not a let me just deal with these people over here to take that off your plate Vince guy. He wants something, he calls Vince directly. When he has wanted to do a deal, he calls Vince directly. There's a period of time when he first came back where he was dealing with me directly, and then because he and Vince weren't getting along when he first came back just from past stuff, but over time he rekindled his relationship and now everything goes through Vince. It's just a different time now, and I think now that he has had a moment to digest it, he digested it a little bit, came back to the building. We did business that night and had a long conversation about where we would go next. He liked what he heard and how he's been dealt with, so it's all good. With rumors of Bray Wyatt being hard to deal with in WWE, Triple H would speak to this on BT Sport, noting that one of the most crazy, most creative people I've ever been around. Mine just never stops thinking of creative, but it's like being in a whirlwind of stuff. Without the harness end to point the tornado, it's just all over the place. He's a victim of his own mind. I loved working with him down there. I see the talents. Sometimes those talents are difficult to work with. I've always gone with the mantra that if someone says, that guy's an ass, well, then he's my asshole. Triple H would also be asked on BT Sport about the potential return of Braun Strowman, who was released from the company years back due to budget cuts. We'll see. Braun Strowman will see. He's like a polarizing figure sometimes in the business, but for a guy for his size and what he brings to the table, he's an amazing athlete. With it said that Sasha Banks and Naomi have agreed to return to WWE following their walkout in the summer, Triple H noted the latest on their status. Time will tell. Communication breakdowns are terrible. There was a communication breakdown there between Sasha Banks and WWE for whatever reason. Starting back up that communication, it's not a difficult process, but it can be a process. She is an unbelievably talented young woman that can do just about anything she wants. At the end of the day, it comes down to what she wants to do with her life and her career. It has to be right for her and right for everybody. She's an unbelievable performer that I believe in with everything I have, that is one of the biggest stars in our business. While there are rumors that CM Punk is unhappy in AEW and has been rubbing some the wrong way backstage, Matt Hardy disputed this notion on his podcast, saying, "I don't know. I really couldn't speak on any of that. I mean, I can speak from my experiences. AEW has been great and everything I've done has been good. There's no outright chaos and dissension backstage. Whatever kind of conversations that happen between Punk and the people in the office, I mean, I'm not privy to that right now, but he came last week and he was there to do business, obviously. It's real life. It's human beings interacting with each other, and they're gonna have differences of opinion. They're gonna get upset with one another. Even going back to what I said about how Jeff resented Punk whenever he made those comments. I mean, things happen. People are human beings, and they have emotions and they feel, so yeah. But I mean, at the end of the day, people love the drama from behind the scenes and backstage. So, a lot of times, especially to the diehard fans, that's almost more interesting to them than the actual kick-ass product they get to see right in front of their face that we're doing for them. And this was your Pro Wrestling News Update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.